We want to talk about white privilege. Here's a good question, and anyone who here believes in it, please step up to the microphone. We can have a discussion. It's a little, I don't think it'll offend anyone, but it might bring someone back. Here's a really good question to ask. Are Jewish people privileged? Are Jewish people white? Anyone? Are Jewish people considered white? Technically they are.
If you consider their history, I would say not.
Oh, they're not white. Then what are they?
Hi guys, my name is Favor, and today we'll be reacting to a video about the popular myth white privilege. Now let's get right into it.
As a Latino in this country, I kind of want to ask your opinion on white privilege because
Sure.
I think I saw something on Facebook. Someone shared like a video or a picture, and I kind of want to just get your views on it, if you could, please.
Awesome. White privilege is racist. White privilege is a lie, and it is a myth.
Could you elaborate?
Happy to. White privilege is racist. Let's go through it. As soon as you begin to categorize certain individuals based on skin color, that in of an essence is racism. It is. If you say, oh, you're privileged because of your skin color, are you kidding me? I mean, you don't know about my background or my upbringing. All of a sudden you're generalizing an entire group of people just based on their skin color. That is racism. The definition of racism is putting a specific definition onto a group of people based on their skin color, a prejudice just based on their skin color. That is racism, whether it's a good prejudice or a bad prejudice. That is racism. Is it a lie? Absolutely it's a lie. Now, have Caucasian Americans generally done better over the last, 100 years? Yeah, that's correct. But there's also other communities that have done much better. Asian Americans, for example. I never hear about Asian American privilege. Asian Americans are the wealthiest, most productive, least likely to commit crimes members of the American community. Where's their privilege? Is their privilege based in skin color? Absolutely not. There's privilege based in making good choices. When you make good choices, those choices are rewarded. Asian Americans entered mostly in the 1940s and 50s, fleeing communism and Marxism. By doing so, they came into the American community widely discriminated against. In fact, if you ask your grandparents what they think of people from Asia, they won't say very nice things, especially your great-grandparents if they're still alive. They made very good choices. They did the three things you need to do to stay out of poverty in America, according to Ben Shapiro, which is you got to graduate high school, get a job, and get married before you have kids. And over the last 60, 70 years, they are by far the richest group that you can point to based on race in America, by far. So here's the perplexing thing, is that I said it's racist and it's a lie. What else did I say about it? I said something else. It's very divisive, extraordinarily divisive. Because if you're going to start to categorize people just based on their skin color, then they're nothing more than that racial group. They're not an individual. It's not saying that you could rise above your circumstance. It's not saying you can make good choices. It's not saying that, oh, you might have been born behind and you can get ahead. We want to talk about white privilege. Here's a good question, and anyone who here believes in it, please step up to the microphone. We can have a discussion. It's a little, I don't think it'll offend anyone, but it might bring someone back. Here's a really good question to ask. Are Jewish people privileged? Are Jewish people white? Anyone? Are Jewish people considered white? Technically they are.
If you consider their history, I would say not.
Oh, they're not white. Then what are they?
They're Semites
They're
from the Middle East, at least historically speaking.
Okay, so we don't have that as a box to check on the U.S. Census Bureau.
I think there should be.
Okay, so they should be Semites. Okay.
Well, not Semites, but
Well, I mean that is the technical definition. But for lack of a better term, they are considered white.
I'm white and I'm Jewish, and I don't think that I'm considered anything but.
Yeah. So let's go to this.
I don't think it's a monolith, though. I mean, I think you can if you identify as white and a Jew, like that's fine. But
It doesn't
I know
matter if you
there are
identify
a lot
as
of
it's what
people
you
who have a lot of connections to, especially like Israel.
Yeah. So but here's the point. Here's the point. The question is, if you categorize them as white, which you don't, most do, did they really have that good of a 20th century? Were they really privileged over the last 100 years? Really?
No.
Yeah, they had an extermination order put up against them in an entire continent. Here's the point, is that if we are going to try to segregate the American populace based on skin color, that is the very definition of everything that we have tried to fight against in this country. Everything. And despite even historical and statistical trends, it just isn't true. There's twice as many white people living in poverty in America than black people. Do they live at a higher rate? Absolutely they do. You talk in aggregate numbers, it doesn't reflect to that. So look, here's the point, is that it is anti-individual, and it is very much this idea of racial group collective that I think is extraordinarily harmful and creates this victimhood mentality that pits one group up against the other, that does not reward what America truly is, which is a place where good choices will eventually be rewarded. Go ahead and say something in response if you want to.
Yeah, just I guess one follow-up question. So you don't think that specifically regarding the United States, like the crippling, like systematic oppression of like the 60s and before that has like any kind of effect whatsoever on African American communities?
Great question. Okay, I'm glad you asked that. Say it again. So say it again, because I want to.
Do you think that the systematic oppressive laws of the 60s and prior to that have any kind of effect whatsoever on African American communities today?
Sure they did, but didn't the internment camps against Asian Americans in the 40s have something against them? They rose above it, right? So here's the question. Is America more racist today than we were in the 1960s? It's a legitimate question. Can anyone possibly say we're more racist today? No. Then why are blacks worse off today than they were in the 1960s? It's not because we're a more racist country. We're much less racist in every single metric. It's because we've incentivized bad behavior over the last 60 years. Black single motherhood was 18% in 1965. It's now 71%. What happened? Is it because we got to be a more terribly racist country? No. Did we get more racist laws? No, we actually got rid of most of all of them. Civil Rights Act, we got rid of almost every single one. So what happened? It's because we incentivized really, really bad behavior. We said to single mothers, go ahead, have kids, and we'll give you a check every single month. But don't get married. As soon as you get married, you lose the check. We put African Americans in urban areas and housing projects that, again, incentivize bad behavior. And that was the advancement of the American welfare scheme. Also coupled with failing public schools, run mostly by teacher unions that were not properly incentivized to try to get the people out of poverty that were very much in. By every single metric, African Americans are worse off today than they were in the 1960s, with crime, prison rates, single motherhood, employment, wealth capita, everything. And there's only one possible explanation for that. It's not that America got more institutionally racist, not any of that stuff. It's that there was a set of policies put forth by one president and continually supported by entire political party to keep a whole segment of the population poor and routinely voting Democrat. And that's Lyndon Baines Johnson and the American Democrat Party, which I think completely punished it. So if you want to talk about systemic oppression and racism, there's lots of other examples of ethnic groups that went through that too. If that's the card you want to play, it does not couple. Almost every single one except African Americans and Native Americans have not rose above it statistically. And the only thing they have in common is absolute total government interference and involvement in their life. Follow-up question?
I really don't think a person should be given privileges just because of their skin color. Like Kirk said, that's racist, right? So yeah, like he rightfully said, white privilege is just a myth. It's not something that truly exists. It's a myth. And what that would do, if it was in existence, was that it would just further divide people. I mean, you can't privilege a person just because of their skin color, because they're white in color. No, I don't think that makes a lot of sense, right? And yeah, people have actually faced discrimination, talking about the Black Americans and even the Asian Americans, for example, like was said in the video. That's like a very, very good example. They faced a lot of discrimination, right? A whole lot of discrimination. But then they still thrived. And why did they thrive? Because they made good choices, which were listed. They graduated high school, yeah, they got job, that means they were hardworking, and then they got married before having children. So they didn't just go about having children just because they could, but they got married before having children. And what did this do? It helped to build them and caused them to have a high rate of success even in America. So white privilege is not going to help anybody actually. It doesn't help the Black, doesn't help the Asians, and even the white. It doesn't help them because it just kind of like puts them in a box, right? If there is something like white privilege, they'll just believe that, I can do this just because I'm white, and that would even foster resentment in other races. So I don't think it should be a thing. And yeah, also it's going to limit them from reaching their full potentials, right? So now, I don't think it's not a thing, it's a myth. And if it were a thing, it wouldn't be a good one. So yeah, I think we should actually scrap that, right? And yeah, um in comparison to the 1960s, right, America has actually made tremendous progress right now. So the rate of racism is really, really less compared to the 1960s. But another thing is among the Black Americans, right, the rate of single motherhood is now way higher than in the 1960s. It's way, way higher than in the 1960s, and I think that that is one of the things that that has caused high level of crime rate and all of that. Why? Because the government brought about welfare, gave them a check, gave single mothers a check. But then once you get married, you don't get that anymore. I mean, who would want to lose that? So I mean, they won't get married, right? And they just raise their children on their own, and that created like a cycle. So I think policies need to be created that would actually increase good behavior and reduce the bad ones. Yeah, regardless of regardless of the color of a person, what a person needs to actually succeed is education, hard work, and family, right? These are what we need to actually build ourselves, to actually succeed, and to actually do exploit, to actually excel in whatever it is that we're doing. So, when we put these values into place, we actually lift ourselves and even other people out of poverty. So yeah, there's no such thing as white privilege. That's just us causing division amongst ourselves. So yeah, that's my thought about this video, about this topic, white privilege. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Please like, share, and follow this page for more videos. Thank you so much, and bye for now.